What's up, you guys? Lena Elkins here. I'm a millennial business coach and the host of the Facebook group Millennial Go-Getters. For those of you guys who don't know me, I'm so stoked that you guys are here today because I'm really excited to tell you about something that I have coming up, which you've probably seen in the copy of this email, which is all about the upcoming live training that I'm doing on how you can be basically making $1,000 a week from your first ever info product. So the reason that I wanted to actually make this training and make this little video for you guys is because creating these info products has become such a huge integral part of my business in terms of my revenue, how I'm able to maximize my time, and how I'm also able to, of course, make the biggest impact for my clients. So if you guys are thinking, like, I don't exactly know what an info product is, it's basically just like an overly complicated term for taking the knowledge that's already in your brain and dumping it into a training and then selling it on Evergreen or selling it basically automatically. So you guys know what I'm talking about. Just some examples that you guys might know about. I'm talking about obviously the Reaching Richness Master Course, Instagram Bootcamp, 4-Step Sales Funnel Mastery. So I have about like 10 info products that I now basically sell all the time. They just live on my website. You can find them in different places, basically in my sales funnels, and they literally sell automatically without me having to do anything extra. So I think that one of the big reasons that people are hesitant, if you're basically a new freelancer, a new entrepreneur, or you're still in the 9-to-5, people are typically really hesitant to jump into the whole info product scene because it seems like a very high level, overwhelming, complicated thing to basically manage. In theory, it's easier to just sell your services, right? You have to show up, you do the work, and you get paid. Info products, it's just a different basically process of looking at it and of selling something. But the reason why I'm creating this training is to show you guys that it's really not that hard to figure out. You don't have to be a techie person. You don't have to have crazy complicated tools. You don't have to have like an insane amount of knowledge. I'm going to be basically showing you guys all of those reasons in the training that I'll be doing on the 30th of April that I'll tell you more about in a second. But the first thing that I wanted to do before that is kind of show you the 5 biggest things that you should know about info products, basically how you today can start creating them and selling them. So I have my list of the 5 most important things that you should know here on my phone, and I'm just going to walk you through them to basically show you that this is totally doable for you. There's no reason that you can't start creating and selling these today with these 5 things. So I'm going to be telling you guys what they are right now. So the first thing that I want to tell you guys, the most important first step that you need to take if you're somebody who wants to be developing info products is changing your mindset. Basically, if you decide to create info products without the right mindset, without the right confidence, without the true belief that you are good at whatever it is that you're teaching, it's going to come through your training. Those insecurities, that self-doubt, it's going to come through in the trainings that you are creating, and it's going to make them sell much less. So basically, this is just something that you need to practice, no matter what you're offering, whether it's service-based or not, but you have to believe that you are an authority in this space, right? You are a thought leader in this space. You have more knowledge than the person that you're teaching it to. And keep in mind that you don't need to know more than everybody, right? You don't have to be the Beyonce of whatever it is that you're selling. You just need to be one step ahead of the person that you are going to be teaching it to or selling it to. So keep that in mind, but you need to have that confidence that when creating that training, you have to go into it with a voice that says, I am an authority in this space. I am prepared and ready and capable of teaching you this skill, of providing you with this extra value. So make sure to make that that mindset switch every single day is practicing that I do know what I'm doing. I am good at this. Otherwise, when you create the training, your voice is going to sound insecure. Your sales pitches, your sales videos, your copy, your emails are all going to sound very full of self-doubt. So you have to be sure that when you're going to create these trainings, go into it with confidence because you know what you're doing, not because it's what you think that you're supposed to do. That's the first thing. The second thing that I want to tell you guys is about the tools that you need to have in place. So there's this big misconception that when creating trainings, that you need to have like all this fancy, this fancy microphone and fancy video equipment and all of these crazy techie tools to basically record and to upload and to sell. It's really, really not true. It's actually extremely easy. As we speak, I'm not using a fancy microphone. I'm using regular headphones. I'm using Photo Booth on my MacBook, and then I'm going to upload it, with like YouTube maybe or with Vimeo. I haven't decided yet, and then I'll be able to send it to you, obviously through ConvertKit, through my email service. But it's really not that difficult to piece together, and it's also very affordable. So most likely you could be creating really high-level premium video trainings with the tools that you already have. So keep that in mind. I'm going to be showing you in the training on the 30th exactly the exact tools that you need and how to kind of piece them all together to work in one seamless process. All right, you guys. The third thing that I want to talk to you guys is about pricing, because a lot of people get really tripped up. Whether you're basically trying to create and sell info products or any kind of service, people always come to me and ask, how do I know, where to price things? What is the right price point for whatever it is that you're offering? And, that comes from a variety of factors. But I've tested a lot of different info products, what works and what doesn't work in terms of pricing. And my number one recommendation that I'm going to tell you guys right now is that you need to start at a low price point. And when I say starting, I'm talking about the first few weeks, okay? I'm not talking about the first 6 months or a year. I'm talking about the first few weeks, start at a low price point. And that's for a few reasons. The first reason that you want to really start with a low price point is because you want to start seeing sales right away, right? You're not going to have a successful business if you're not making money. So this is a great way to kind of just get some cash flow into the door right from the beginning, which is obviously going to boost your confidence. It's going to show you, it's going to prove to yourself that you're capable of doing this. And also it's going to add in some extra cash flow, which is really, really helpful. And the second reason why you want to keep your price point low is it's going to allow your audience to basically have easier access to your products, and it's going to prove your expertise early on. So basically, if you, right off the bat start selling a $400 product without selling any other info product before, most likely very few people are going to buy that. And because of it, very few people are going to have access to your expertise and your knowledge, which is going to basically set you back in everything, right? It's going to help you, maybe get fewer testimonials, less trust with your audience, with your customers. People are going to feel like they don't know you as well. They don't really understand if you're an expert. However, if you price your products at a low price point early on, it's going to make it much easier for them to basically realize that you do know what you're talking about. They're going to be able to trust you a lot faster, and then they're going to be more comfortable investing in you later on, ongoing, at, a little bit of higher price points every time. So instead of jumping from 0 to 100 right off the bat, which is what a lot of people tend to do, see it as steps. You have to work your way up the steps just as you would in any relationship, right? If you just met somebody on the street and you ask them, will you be my best friend and go on vacation with me to Hawaii? It would be super, super weird if they said yes, right? Maybe it would be more normal to ask them to get coffee with you first or something. But you have to work your way up the ladder like you would with any relationship, and that's going to help you see sales over a much longer period of time, because ultimately that's what this is all about. It's about sustainability. All right, you guys. The third thing that I want to tell you guys is about the importance of building a community while you are simultaneously basically creating your info products, if not before. So a big issue that a lot of people have that I've seen in our own community is that people will basically create info products, and then they're like, all right, where are the people who are going to sell them? They just create it without thinking that they need to create an audience first, right, before actually selling them. So the most important thing that I want to emphasize to you guys is that this doesn't happen overnight. Again, you have to start building a rapport with people in your network, in your space. So whether that means, basically starting to build an email list if you haven't already, building a Facebook group, starting to run ads, doing something that basically allows people to get to know you a little bit first and make sure that you have their attention before you ever present them with the info product. It doesn't have to be a huge list, keep in mind. You could have an email list of 50 or 100 people and basically get all of them to buy from you if you build that rapport beforehand, if you basically, instill that trust beforehand, and then you can pitch them the sale. But don't think that you can just create an InfoOne product one day and show up and all these strangers are going to buy from you. It's not how it works. So start building these relationships one-on-one or on a larger scale, like I said, either through a Facebook group or through email marketing or whatever, so that these people are ready to buy from you the second that you launch your product. All right, what else do we have here? The next thing that I want to say to you guys is that you don't need to have a huge launch. So a lot of people think that when you have an info product or you come out with a new info product, basically you have to have some huge launch or a huge webinar or something that's basically really extra time intensive in order to sell it, right? So you think you have to show up live for a webinar, have a ton of people on that webinar, and then at the end of it, basically you can pitch the sale, right? The problem is that doing these webinars or these live trainings all the time is really, really time and energy intensive, right? It takes a lot of time and effort, at least for me, I know, to basically create an entire webinar that I know is really high level, really detailed. Just so you guys know, it takes me a week or more just to create a really legit webinar. And then on the webinar itself, of course, it's an hour to 2 hours of just me speaking. If you guys have not done webinars before, I don't know if you know how hard it is to speak for an hour or 2 hours straight, but it's really, really time intensive, right? It's not something that you can do every week or even every month necessarily in order to get those sales, which is why it's so important to basically be able to sell your info products on Evergreen. And for those of you guys who don't know what Evergreen means, it basically means having a setup funnel that's automated, that automatically brings in those sales on repeat. So there's no need for you to show up and be there manually or to do anything manually. There are all of these tools that I use that I'm going to be showing you guys in this live training that basically you can use in order to make sure that your audience are, obviously seeing this opportunity, engaging with it, understanding that there's, some kind of a scarcity, right? Either there's like a time pressure, a time limit to when they can buy it, or a certain price discount or whatever. But there are all these different strategies that you can implement into your Evergreen funnel that are basically going to allow you to sell automatically without you actually having to be there. And that's a big thing that most people don't realize. They think that they have to show up live to sell it. It's just not true. And this is obviously a much easier way to be generating that passive revenue, right? It's not passive if you have to show up and be there. What's passive is waking up, in the morning because you're getting notifications from your PayPal saying that you received money overnight while you were sleeping, right? That's what passive revenue is. That's what we're going for here. So this is why in the email that is obviously attached with this video, I talked about how when I first started my own social media consultancy, how challenging it was, right? To basically maximize my time because I was only trading my hours for dollars. If I wasn't working in that minute, I wasn't getting paid in that minute. And although I do really truly believe that freelancing is an essential stepping stone to basically living a long-term entrepreneurial path and having an entrepreneurial career, it's not the long-term goal, right? It's not the end game. With that said, whether you're already freelancing or you're still in the 9-to-5, this is a great transition to make. If you're somebody who is trying to really start getting that passive revenue now without having a ton of experience or tools or money or whatever to spend, I'm telling you right now, info products are absolutely the best way to do that and the fastest way to do that. So in this training that's taking place on the 30th, which is 2 Sundays from now, I believe, we are basically going to be walking you through step by step every single thing that you need to know, every strategy, every tool. I'm going to be giving you all of the copy that I use in my email series that basically allows me to generate thousands of extra dollars every single month in passive revenue, evergreen, from these info products. So I'm going to be showing you exactly how to create them and sell them, like starting in just a few weeks. This is a training that I have not offered before. It's going to be really high level, really detailed, and it's going to last about 3 hours. So it's going to be in like an intensive masterclass. This training is not going to be for the faint of heart. It's going to be really intense. Like I said, super detailed, but it will get you from A to Z. I'm telling you, in the next few weeks, you're going to start seeing your first sales. So this is going to be a $60 training for registration, but until this Friday, so 72 hours from now, I'm putting it on pre-sale for $30. So that's amazing, and I'm going to be obviously including that link down below. So be sure to grab it in the link here that's going to be in this email. But with that said, that's all I have for you guys. If you guys have any questions about this training, do not hesitate to ask. Let me know. You guys know how to find me. Then again, I'm super, super excited for this training. I really hope that you guys can make it. And with that said, I'll talk to you all later. Love you. Bye.